Welcome everyone. Introductions to Agile project management is what we will be discussing today. Now, this particular presentation has been heavily borrowed from the content from PMI. PMI is the Project Management Institute, which is recognized the world over, right? So, way back in 2008, 2013, around 6 years of studies that the Agile practices which has been doubled, it seems. In 6 years, saying the agile project management practices have seen much of a change, and it has doubled, wherein 80%, 88 if I may say so, said that the organizations are working towards agile development or being very reciprocative to the market requirements as per the sales. One half, approximately 52%, use agile software, and there are plentiful of agile software which is available in the market to manage the majority of their projects. We are talking about managing projects, we are talking about operational issues. When we are talking about projects, we are talking about scheduling issues and so on and so forth, as the case might be. 88% say that they are least knowledgeable about agile software's development technique. On the same front, at the same breath, at the same force, the same faith, that the people come up with the divergent views, though they are practicing the agile project management principles, but they do not know how this particular software has been developed and how it is being manifested into their things. But they can visibly utilizing the software for the very fact that there is a marked improvement as far as retaining of the clients are concerned, as far as productivity is concerned, or probably the revenue generation itself has shown a marked improvement. So, despite the lack of knowledge for the software development, they don't shun away from utilizing the project management software per se. Let us under the charge as far as is mentioned. Limited amount of progress in developing a more integrated approach to project management that embrace both agile and traditional plan driven project management principles and practices, as the case might be. This, remember, has been manifested in the PMI Institute itself. Many see agile and project management principle and practices as competitive approaches. When I say competitive approaches, it is competitive towards awarding, rewarding, or probably retaining a client. So everybody wants to have a share in the pie as far as project is concerned. So that becomes competitive for the each of the organization that is vying for the similar project or same project per se. Considerable polarization between these two communities is based on the some parts on myths, on stereotypes, and probably even on misconception about what agile and project management is all about. It. This is uh, the charm of agile project management that comes around it. Let us understand or disintegrate the role of project manager. It has been so strongly associated with someone who plans, who manages project using traditional plan driven project management approach, that many people cannot even conceive of any other image other than that particular person as a project manager. But to be successful in more uncertain environment, look what has happened. The business environment has become very dynamic. It changes, it fluctuates on a day-to-day basis, if I may say so, on an hourly basis too. Project manager needs to be able to take an adaptive approaches that is appropriate to the level of uncertainty in the project and integrate quality into the process rather than relying on the final acceptance testing at the end of the projects to validate that is produced. They need to give up some control that has become associated with the project management professions. In some cases, they need to become more of a coach and more of a consultant and less of a manager, wherein they will instill the aspects of being a go-getter or probably trying to achieve the goal or in fact mitigating any problems or any hindering that comes on the way as a coach rather than managing the show by himself. Now, mastering this complexity and changes in project management, economy, and society via a project management second order. PMI, if I may say so, if I may quote Project Management Institute, the PMI 2 states the same thing. Yes, it's been mentioned as I've already stated so. Traditionally, project management will play a active and more important role, but will be extended to consider either of a dynamic non-linear, perhaps multi-causal structures and processes as well, as the principle of self-organization, evolutions, and networking come into play. Let us understand the second order of project management. What exactly has been meant by the second order thereby? For an effective attainment of project goals at a defined finishing point in time, we need the linear process, the Cartesian causality, and the Newtonian logic from the traditional project management. What used to happen can be depicted, can be replicated all together in the field. But evolutionary and organizing based management methods are necessary to master complex, uncertain situation on the way to define finishing point in time for a project. Absolutely, yes, will tell you what exactly is to be done. A well balanced interactions of a traditional project managers and the evolution, probably the self organization principle is a message to the project management second order, if I may say so. That is what will be required ultimately. Agile project management benefits thereof. Now we need to understand what are the advantages of having an agile management system. It is a strong believer in being reciprocative. Absolutely. It is strong believer in being dynamic. It is strong believer in being agile, in being flexible, and there are some significant benefit for this approach. The real benefit of a typical project manager of developing an agile project management approach is not in throwing away any notions of using a plan driven approach, converting to agile, and using a totally agile approach for all the projects as the case might be. And this is what we are looking forward. Even if a project manager never uses a fully agile approach, knowledge of agile concepts and principle will make for a better and obviously a strong project manager as the case might be. Let us understand and probably dissect what are the benefits of developing an agile project manager approach as the case might be. There are basically 12 agile principles, and allow me to elaborate those 12 principles before I wind up this particular presentation in front of you. I will be specifically specifying the benefits thereby. Number one is to increased focus on the outcomes. When I say outcomes, we are only interested in the business outcomes per se and the favorable one. Reduce time to the market, or should I say the response time. We need to thrill the customers with their expectation, with the impeccable service that we come across in terms of services and quality of products, higher productivity and lower cost. Remember, it all translates into wonderful profits. Higher productivity and lower cost is what we are looking into it. Yes, quality cannot be compromised, both in terms of service and product. The effectiveness of the organizations is at an optimum level. So let us dissect all them one by one, as in the focus of the business on outcomes, not a plan-driven upfront specification that comes around it. We start with the business, obviously, with there is an outcome, there is an objective in our mind, but we can always prune the outcome. We can always change the outcome, which goes for the benefits every stakeholders in the business. The team collaboration with the product owners, the business analyst in a specifying features and using the user need stories. The iterative development, as keep on saying about the step-by-step process of developing, prioritizing of requirements as the case might be, facilitated with oversight of Scrum Master, as the case might come across is the step number two is reduce time to the market or the response time we are looking into it. Scrum methodology is product backlog and sprint backlog, what we are looking across here. The Scrum methodology is all about here efficiency by delivering functionality incrementally, as the case might be, prioritizing with team pulling highest priority, not even done work from the product backlog, as in whatever backlog that comes around it, we need to go around with the highest priority one, the first thing. The topmost priority should get the full attention. Focus on simplicity, never complicated any materials, any matters, any process, any backlog things, and always try to eliminate any work which doesn't add considerable values to the work around it. Higher productivity and lower cost. Yes, this is what we are all interested in. Why? Because it simply means wonderful profits per se. So elimination of management overheads. Many at times we can go for lean production as far as human resources are concerned. If we are talking about overheads, can it be reduced? Can it be hived out? Can it be branched out of the system altogether? Sprint work focuses on the highest priority, the topmost priority, which has been not been finished as of yet. We are looking talking about features, we are talking about functions. So pulling work and from the product backlog, please focus on the backlog with the highest priorities, which is going to give you the wonderful return as far as business avenues are concerned. Iteration in develop in which the team completes the work required. Probably we require a software to be designed, developed, fully tested, and integrated. Just for an example, I've given it to you. It can you can remove and isolate the word software and probably replace it with anything. Probably a building, probably an engineering dam that you're looking into it. You name it, and we can develop anything. We can design anything. We can test it. We can pilot test it, and probably launch it into the market. Thereby, remember, end of the sprint, pulled work is to be done before it completes around it. Point number four is of higher quality. Quality is of epitome level. Quality in terms of services that the customer has been enjoying, quality in terms of the product that the end customers is actually consuming. The goal at the end of each sprint is to produce go live ready code. Absolutely, yes. Wherein it has been lapped up by the end customer, the general public, to be very sure about, to complete and implement a shippable product, as the case might be. We are eliminating the cost of unfinished work, carrying out technical depths, as the case around here. We're talking about organizational effectiveness. If I may say so, what exactly has been meant? The team is motivated, empowered to do their work, to take price in to do it as well as possible, as the case might be. Given the team commitment, collaboration, and support, we are looking for an optimum level of performances. We are looking for an effective and superior efficacy that comes around here, that needs to be taken all together every now and then, as the case might be. Right. So this is what we should be looking for. We have to give as well as parts of the organization providing for collaboration, focus on the common goals as a case scenario. Let us understand and review the key points that I've already discussed in the agile project management as a concept all about it. Remember, the widespread and the rapid adoption of the project management methodology is over last 10-15 years only, probably from 2008 onwards, and we are talking in 2022, approximately 14 years. So in last 10 to 15 years, we have seen a sea side change, complete radical change in the project management scenario is concerned. However, our progress in developing an integrated approach to project management that embraces agile as well as traditional project management principles and practices have been somewhat been limited, as the case has been clearly said. To get past a number of well established stereotypes, develop much broader vision of what project management is all about it. We are talking about comparison of agile versus waterfall, as the case might be. Now, what is agile and waterfall? There should be a more accurate thought as a range of adaptive and a plan driven approach. When we talk about project management in the waterfall, every milestone is catered to, every milestone is been marked as a cost centers and the duration that is required to achieve those things. But in agile project management, this is all being adaptive, as the case might across changes over a period of time. Agile versus waterfall comparison has been created an impression that the approaches are absolutely competitive. In fact, adaptive and planned approaches really should be thought of as much more complementary to each other rather than as a competitors to each other. We are talking only about the approaches, mind you. Let us understand what has been the transformation that has taken place as far as project management professions is concerned. Over the years, the profession has developed into a well planned, disciplined approach to how projects are being evaluated, how projects have been executed, how projects have been managed per se. The approach has worked well for projects and can be heavily plan driven. If you can plan it out, minutely, if you can plan it out in a detailed fashion, you nothing is stopping it to you. But please be prepared for the unwarranted things to come in incorporated. So that is the approach that comes around it. However, it has a serious limitations in an highly uncertain and rapidly changing environments that are difficult and impractical to the plan. No wonder what, because of this dynamic situation, even predicting something 6 months in advance becomes very difficult. God knows the economy of the world has become very interconnected. And if a country sneezes, there's another country in a different part of the continent which might catch cold altogether. It is how intricate the economies have been interwoven. So, yes, becomes very difficult to predict. Agile project management, the benefits thereof. Let me wind up this presentation by telling you the advantages thereby. Developing a more adaptive project approach altogether, or probably tailoring the approach to fit the projects, will generally result in a number of benefits, plentiful of it, of which matching the approach to the project rather than default being a plan driven approach, as the case scenario is all about here. We need to take it into a stride, developing a broader, deeper knowledge of both adaptive and plan driven principles, practices, is likely to improve our project manager skills for different projects altogether. Come what may, you need to understand this. This is exactly the call of the day, as the case might be. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. I believe you people have been sensitized about being what is agile project management is all about it. With these words, let me sign off. Thank you for watching this video.